Hi, I'm Pauline.
Hey, I'm Priscilla.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Tamiron.
And this is the P3T podcast. In today's session or episode, we are going to talk about something that's very trivial for us women or for us girls, for those who think they're young.
Damn!
What do you mean Mapema.
Yeah, man, it's real early.
This is a matter that has affected us women and it still affects us today. And maybe for those who plan on having children, will also affect their daughters later on. So we'll be talking about purity or the purity culture in general, specifically sexual purity and how it affects us as women and our views on the certain topic. So, to start off this conversation, I'd like to ask, why is purity important to you? Or is purity important to you in the first place? And if it is, why? Pauline?
I think if you're a Christian, this is a big if. Please, if you're listening and you're not a Christian, you can. This is not
Cheers.
for you. Cheers! But if you're a Christian, then purity is very important because it's one of those things that, it's one of those things that God has us uphold. And God is not a reasonless God. Like, He doesn't do things just for the fun or just so that, He accomplishes something. Like, there's a reason, like, you're being encouraged to uphold this. So if you're a Christian, purity is very important because the idea of marriage in Christianity is supposed to be a reflection of the relationship between Jesus and the church. Like, it's supposed to be a reflection of how Jesus relates to the church and how the church relates to Jesus. That's the whole idea of marriage. So when you uphold purity for that purpose, then you're able to you're able to reach intimate levels with your partner that are required for your relationship to thrive, I think. Yeah, that's why I think it's important.
Yes, Tamiran, what should you?
Like Pauline said, as a young Christian girl. Yeah, so purity is something I uphold and I find important because of all the reasons Pauline has said. Because I don't think anyone can put it any better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I think purity is just something that you can decide, even if you're a non-Christian.
Yeah,
So, like,
for sure.
if you think that waiting till marriage is something that you like, because there are some people who think engaging in sex before marriage can lead to a lot of emotional ties, like being tied to someone. So they refrain from getting involved with that person in that way. So if you think that that purity is something for you and you just want to wait till marriage, even though you don't have the beliefs that we share as Christians, then I guess it's okay. Our next question would be, do you think that purity is more of a faith thing or a societal thing? Yes, Tamiran?
I think it's both. Obviously, for the most part, the people who end up upholding it are people of
Faith.
whichever faith. Because I know even our Muslim brothers and sisters uphold it. We as Christians uphold it. But then, there are people out there who don't really subscribe to any religion,
Yeah.
but have decided to live a life of celibacy.
Yeah.
So it's it's both a societal thing and a religious thing. But for the most part, a lot of people who end up upholding it are don't say religious, spiritual.
People of faith.
People of faith.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
better way of putting it.
Yeah. Paul?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of society and religion because I feel like the religion or the faith is fueled by society. So the Bible says purity is important.
Yeah.
Therefore, society puts in like this over importance on purity. You know, they are the ones. Society isn't hold you to the standard that the Bible has set, or they set a few more standards higher than what the Bible has set. So yes, purity is important. The origin comes from works of faith, so like the Bible, Quran, etc. And then society just now interprets it in the context of the day, the time that people are living in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a very good explanation. Another question could be, do you think the whole concept of purity has contributed largely to the suppression of women over the years? Pauline? Yes, Pauline.
I think, just as Paul said, purity, like it originates from like works of faith, and then society imposes it and basically like ensures it's upheld. So I do think over the years it has become a suppression of women, a tool with which women are suppressed, because purity spoken about in the Bible is for relational purposes. It's to ensure the relationship you have with your spouse is going to be like a fruitful relationship, But then what society has done is it has taken that, superimposed it, and said any woman that is not a virgin is not worthy of a good relationship, you know?
Yeah.
And so, because of that, we've reached a point where, as a society, people do uphold purity in some people, obviously not everyone, but like some people uphold purity not for the relational purposes, not because like to keep yourself pure for your husband, but for the only reason is because they're scared of what society is going to say about them. They're scared because society has said a woman that is not a virgin, a woman only. I don't know why society didn't talk about men who aren't virgins.
Not men.
Just because apparently men who aren't virgins, I don't know who they're having sex with. I don't know. So like society is going to tell you a woman who is not a virgin, nobody will ever want that woman.
Yeah.
And you know, like you have so many analogies that different preachers use. Like, and I'm sure you people have heard about the rose analogy, how like they take a rose, they pass it around, and then at the end they ask, is anybody going to get into a relationship with this rose? So obviously, if you're seated in a congregation and the pastor is talking about that, you're going to get scared. You're going to be like, Mimi, I want to have a relationship, so let me
keep
not
myself here so that I can have a husband.
so that I can have a husband. And that's not what purity is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
Like if that's where purity is coming from for you, I feel like you're suppressed. So like I feel like yes, my answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes. To add on to her point, or to build on something she just, by she I mean Pauline, she just said, there's this like over insistence, or like it's so, what's the word? It's been so
Persistent, I don't know.
yeah,
It's been imposed on women.
yeah, it's been, yes, thank you. It's been superimposed on women as compared to men.
Yeah.
Like it's like men are justified to sleep around as much as they want, but the moment
A woman.
a woman does it, she loses her value.
Yeah.
She is no longer as esteemed, or she's no longer as beautiful. You know, it's like she's lost her beauty.
Which is disgusting.
But I know by the fact that her purity is gone, and yet the same thing is not, you know,
Accorded to men.
yeah.
it's quite sick. It's a very sick mentality.
Because if you look at it like that, then basically what you're saying is the value of a woman is all she has to offer in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know about y'all, but not now.
Yeah, not in today's generation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, can I also just say, Pauline, you said over the years, like now women, it's been used against women, but I feel like even from those Bible days,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like, it's always been, women have been put down with this whole concept of purity. Even when Jesus was brought for a prostitute,
Is this
and,
about
and they were going to stone her.
was
Jesus
it a
was like,
prostitute or
Maybe
an
an
adulteress?
an adulterous woman. Sorry. My Bible is mixed up. Anyway, so when he was brought for an adulterous woman, and they were like, oh, she needs to be stoned, she needs to be killed, whatever. He was like, if none of you have sinned, then feel free, be the first one. Like, cast a stone at this woman. Yeah. So I think it's been for forever that women have just been imposed this purity mentality. Even in the Renaissance period, in the Victorian era, I don't know when it was, the 1700s, I think. In those times, there was a picture created of like a woman. So there is Eve, who is there's Eve, and then who's this woman, Jezebel or something like that. So there was like two types of women. I've forgotten the names. I don't know if it's even Jezebel or even Madonna. I've forgotten. But there was now one picture of a woman who was like a temptress. You know, she tempts you and she leads you into sin. And then there's this pure one who, like, you know, is holy and doesn't do anything wrong. But yeah, anyway, that was relevant. But I think from the beginning of time, women have been imposed on purity things.
Yeah.
And to build up on that, going back to the whole story of the adulterous woman, the fact that the woman was being like, it was only the woman.
Yeah, where was the man?
Where was the man?
There were
She
those
committed
men.
adultery alone. She was alone in her committing adultery.
She probably committed adultery with men who are married.
Yeah.
But then the only person who was being punished was that woman.
But even if the men weren't married, they knew she was married. If she had a reputation, see, they knew her.
And if they weren't married, that means they were fornicating.
Exactly.
So
it's like there's always been some sort of double standard. Even from the Bible.
So basically, this whole purity thing could be used as a tool for toxic patriarchy or something.
It's like a stick we use to beat women.
Yeah. Secondary virginity. We should also get onto that bandwagon. Okay, for those who don't know what secondary virginity is, it is whereby an individual has done the deed, but then has somewhat, let's say, experienced an epiphany that
Amerudia Yesu.
yes, that I'm going to keep myself pure till I find the one and settle down. So yes, you've done the deed, but you've turned away from your ways and you've decided to to
Keep yourself pure for your mate.
Exactly.
Mate?
For your spouse.
This is Nyama.
Either way, so do you guys believe in secondary virginity? Tamiron?
Personally, Missy, I didn't know okay, I had heard of it, but I don't, you know how you just hear something but you don't really know what it entails, or like, so that's me in this situation. Like, I've heard of it being talked about, but I've never been in conversations where we're talking about secondary virginity. So that, my point being, I don't really understand it. I'd like to understand it, but I don't know much about it.
Pearl?
Do I believe in secondary virginity? Yeah, but I don't know about that term, like secondary virginity. I feel like it's just waiting. It's waiting with someone. Yeah. So I think virginity is put on such a high pedestal that even those who have had sex before and you fornicated or whatever, now people feel the need to now put a virgin term.
Quality to
To make you feel redeemed. But regardless, you're like, you're in Jesus, so you're fine. Yeah, you've come to God, you're good. So I don't know about the importance of calling it secondary virginity, but I do think like it's fair, because if somebody was not in Christ and now they're in Christ, and they get a partner, like a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever, and you wait with this partner, this union is seen as good before God, because the point is that you take the time when you're dating to wait with them, because it's difficult. Like, you have a boyfriend na hamshikana nivo. It's difficult.
Yeah, it's not easy.
So that is seen as holy and blameless before God. So I think the concept itself, secondary virginity, if somebody is willing to wait with their partner, well, now they've come to God. I think it's a thing. It's just the wording is a bit off for me, but that's not important for now. Yeah.
As for me, I think there's this, I don't know where it is, but I remember Jesus saying something that about, I've forgiven you, just repent and turn away from your sin, something like that. And I think I also agree with Paul in the context that as long as you're in Christ and you turn away from your sin, then I feel like it's applicable. So I do agree. Which leads me to the next question. Do you think that the increase in sexual activity amongst the youth today is a rebellion to the purity culture? Yes, Pauline?
I mean, obviously. Well, okay, maybe not obviously, but I think humans in nature, when something is forcefully imposed on them, they're bound to rebel. Yeah, like it's the same way. That one thing that your mom told you not to do, that's the only thing you want to do. Because like there's some, I don't know, I think thrill or exhilaration that comes from it. So definitely it is like a form of rebellion of society, especially because young people, and it's not just young people now, like it's young people even the days of Jesus are just rebellious in nature. Like they see laws and they want to fight. Like it's not a recent thing, it's something that has existed throughout history. So because like society puts virginity on such a pedestal, and like people who aren't virgins are treated as though they are less than or incomplete, or I don't know. So I feel like it could be a driving motivator that like drives people to be more promiscuous. That sounds like an insult, but
Yeah.
I don't know what other word to use.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with what Pauline has said. And I don't think I have anything to add.
So let's move on.
Put it well.
What boundaries do you think should be put in place in a Christian romantic relationship? Paul.
I think that okay, just to provide a bit of context just for the episode, so we've kept raising our hands, so I raised my hands emphatically. Anyway, so I think you said what boundaries should be drawn. I think often people are trying to find the line, where if I'm in a relationship, there's a line that's there, and I'm trying, and like a lot of people try to know how close I can get to that line, how close as like the closest point I can get to that line without crossing it, so that I'm still holy and blameless before God technically. So, but I think if we are called to live like Jesus, we should be trying to move further away from the line than close to that line. So, and then also, I think it also has to do with like convictions, the society that you live in, blah blah, all of that. So, depending on your conviction and how you feel about how you've been raised or the society that you're in, I feel like if for you feel like there's a pastor that was talking, and he was like, me, when my wife was my girlfriend, I couldn't even hold her hand. That for him was like tempting him. Hapo ndio akaanza kusikia wow. So I feel like as you're moving away from that line, pia ujijue how do you respond if you know unajua tu kwa moyo wako you might be a physical touch person. Unashikana na mtu unasikia woo. Achana kushikana na watu. And then you date mukae across the table. Muangaliane vizuri, see his face properly. Yeah, so I feel like pia kujijua, so if you know what will lead you to temptation, move away from that temptation. Know your own boundaries, know your own lines. Please don't enter the same bedroom. Please. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah.
I'm just asking for it.
Yeah, I didn't know what was happening, brother.
Girl,
It's the devil.
So that's all I'm saying. Set boundaries with like the way you know yourself,
and not only set them like by yourself, but also set them with your partner.
Yeah, with your partner, and pray about it.
Yeah.
So pray about it. Talk to God. Ask God. Napenda uchali. Aki nampenda, but what is the best way for me to love him before we get married? So yeah, I think boundaries should just be like, the simple things, don't get into a room alone together. Try as much as possible to be in public spaces, because you can utaskia weird.
Joto.
Yeah, if you're in public and you're on the ground. So
Oh my god.
So yeah, I think so go to public, don't be in like a bedroom together alone. Also, like, tell your friends about your experiences. Have somebody keep you accountable, just so that if there are people, I don't know who I watched saying this, to the TikTok or something. What her and her boyfriend did is that they told her and her fiance, they had like people that they used to talk to, yeah. So they told them every time they were like almost stumbling, and then they told them they stumbled, so they told their friends, and then they were like, the only way we won't stumble is if we say we're always going to tell them if we stumble. You get? So that accountability, you don't want to do it because you don't have to go tell your friend. It happened tena. So even like keeping accountability with your friends, I feel like that, or a mentor or whoever is older than you that you trust, that could be a good way to keep a boundary.
Wow.
But if it doesn't work for you, cheers.
good.
Yeah.
Bye.
Your ticket to heaven won't be revoked. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, I love that explanation.
Yes.
Does anyone have any?
No, I think you did it wonderfully.
Yeah. So, we're near the close, but do you support PDA? PDA is the public display of affection, for those who don't know. And if you do, why or not? Okay, yeah.
PDA is an interesting topic because there's people do PDA for different reasons. Like there's some people who do PDA so that the whole world can see this one is mine. Don't touch him, don't look at him, don't even speak to him, don't even breathe him. Don't breathe the same air he's breathing, and then there's some people who do PDA because like the love they have for each other is just so much they can't help but show. Like, like even if you tell them to sit apart, watajipata tu wamekaribiana tena, and then like there's some people, I'm sure like you've had the whole love languages discussion before. Like, I'm sure after umefanya test, I'm sure you know your love languages. So like mi najua. So like, there's some people whose love language is physical touch. And I actually read somewhere that sometimes if as a kid you are touch deprived, that means like you didn't get that many hugs, like no one was holding your hand. Like when you are really young, like when you are the age for being swaddled, like uko unachwa tu ukae, like no one was carrying you, you generally tend to grow up a bit touch deprived, so you crave physical touch. So for them, I feel like it's a bit difficult for them to say they've gotten into a relationship now, we will not show PDA ever again. Like like for them, like they just constantly want to be holding someone's hand or hugging someone because it's something they crave. So PDA, I think it's a very personal thing. You need to know yourself, know what makes you comfortable, and what makes, like, both you and your partner, not just you. Because if you're comfortable with PDA and your partner is not comfortable, utamforce. Huwezi force. But then also, like, there's the whole thing where people are like, oh, but they make people in public uncomfortable. Funge macho. Like, I feel like it should never be a reason that people give for other people not to show PDA. Like, if you're so uncomfortable by this couple holding hands, you don't have to stand next to them, and you don't have to look at them. Like, you don't even need to be in the same vicinity as them. Just leave. But for you to say, oh, because I am uncomfortable, they should not hold hands. Who are you? Wewe ni nani that we should compromise for you?
Tamiran?
I think for me, my opinion is based on my society. In an African context, it's very rare that you see PDA.
Yeah.
And so it's not like, it just feels strange when I see, when I see PDA. But it's not particularly that it's a bad thing, or it's, I don't know, it's just, it's not something I'm used to seeing. So when I see, I'm like, oh, okay.
I find that mbaya.
I grew past that.
You grew past that.
So now I'm just like, oh, okay, good for you. And then maybe if I get uncomfortable, I move away. Or if it's cute, I'm just, giving this back glances like, oh my God. So cute. But then I think maybe if you come from, I feel like the West, PDA is something that's more or less normal. So for them, forever.
Yeah.
But then now for me, my opinion is based off of like
Your society.
Your society.
True.
I agree with Tamiran on what you said about PDA. So for me, as Pan, I'm not opposed to other people expressing PDA. Like, if you and your person want to express PDA, cool. I'll stand, I will support, sawa. But for me, I didn't have much of an opinion until I visited some of my relatives last year. And some of their close family friends had come to Kenya. So they flew, they live in the States, yeah. They flew in, so then now they're from the West, this West that you're talking about, Tamiran. And so some of their close family friends, it was like the mom, the dad, the son, the daughter, and the son had a girlfriend, and they came with the girlfriend. So they, now I met this daughter. So I met now the son and his girlfriend, and we hung out with them for a weekend, a full weekend. And it was clear that they were dating. Yeah, it's clear that these two people are together, but their interactions around us, they weren't constantly mmeshikana, constantly mko pamoja. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You do you, yeah. But I'm saying that they I don't know, they look like homies, They look like homies that it was clear you're not homies, but Nini marafiki, you're homies. So the way they interacted with each other, for me, it was so admirable, because I was like, you guys are come from the US, you're probably going to hold hands, probably going to make out here in front of me. Okay, no, I'm joking. But
are you though?
So, I thought they wouldn't have any aversion towards PDA, but for them to specifically, they were like, yeah, okay, we don't need to, the two of them are not comfortable with showing PDA, but it was clear that they were together. Another example that I have is my parents. So I think my mom doesn't mind PDA, but my dad, so my dad shakes my mom's hand in public, when they're together in public, and they're both coming from separate paths, but they've come to this one thing together. My father will walk up to my mother and he will shake her hand, and then they will go and they will sit together. But even in church, my parents don't sit together. My dad sits at the front, my mom sits at the back. My dad goes for first service, my mom goes for second service. The only time they talk is if in between services, my dad needs the car keys to go home after, or my mom needs car keys to go home because like me or my siblings have asked for one of their cars to go and do something, So that's the only time they're going to talk, and they're not going to talk at that front. They're going to talk at the back where my mom is hiding. So nobody sees them interacting, So, and hardly people can think like, there's trouble in paradise, like, why aren't they talking? Why don't they come to church together? Why don't they sit together? Why don't they, at the least, why don't we see them talking that often? The only time you're talking is for 2 seconds and then you go off with something in your hand, However, when they get to their house, they're like the best of friends, They have one of the best relationships I've ever seen, They're vulnerable with each other. They love each other to bits. Like the other day, my dad was telling me about him getting together with my mom. And like he said, it's the best decision I've ever made. And I was like, that's like the best thing. Like you could have told me, So I don't think, for the most part, I think your intentions with PD, as Pauline said, matter. So are you going out to hug your wife or hug your husband, hug your boyfriend or your girlfriend because you want the whole world to see that this relationship is okay? Are you obsessed with your image, or are you going to hug them or love them because unampenda too? You're going to hug them, you hold their hand because of the love you have for them, because it's your pure intentions. If it's your pure intentions, sure, go for it. PDA, do whatever you want, But if you're doing it because unataka watu waone ati mko vizuri, and then in the background, like mtu mnapigana, you can't even sleep properly in the same room, I think, it just, your intentions matter. So I think you need to check your heart posture before you do everything that you want to do physically. So check yourself. Am I holding her hand because I want everyone to see I'm married? Or am I holding her hand because I don't even care about you people? Like, it don't matter. I just want to hold her hand.
Wow.
Beautifully spoken.
Yes.
Chef's kiss.
As we are near to coming to a close, I'd like to finalize with this question. What do you think society has done wrong or right whilst championing for purity?
They've done a lot wrong. Sorry. I mean, yes, they've done a lot wrong, but I think they've also done quite a bit right. Because, like, a lot wrong is all they're using it as a tool to suppress women and, like, making women who have lost their purity feel as though they're not enough as they are.
Or men.
Yeah, or men.
Yeah.
But mostly women.
It's okay. Anyway, let's champion for both genders.
Like, all of that is the wrong. But I think the right is, like Paul has said and like Tamiron has said, specifically in our culture, specifically our parents, not this generation. And when I say our parents, because I know, like, I have classmates who are firstborns. So my parents and their parents are not the same. So when I say our parents, I mean
the older Gen X.
older. So, like, for them, PDA, like, even my parents, PDA was never something they were super comfortable with. But, like, it never inhibited their relationship. Like, I can't even remember if there was a time I ever doubted that they had love for each other. Like, I've never ever doubted that they have love for each other. So I think in the sense that purity, in the sense that we've been raised up to know that your relationship can thrive despite what everybody thinks about it. So, like, your relationship can thrive despite everybody saying that, that one was not a virgin when she got married. That one, like, I feel like that has been, like, we've learned that because our parents my parents, they've never been, like, openly discuss relationships. Like, they, like, it's those ones, if, like, a questionable scene comes, like if you're watching TV and a questionable scene comes on, hey, wow, look at that air. Look at that air. It's so beautiful. Like everyone just kind of avoids that topic.
Suddenly,
Yeah, all of a sudden your bladder is full. Like, you know. Like, but I've never questioned whether they have love for each other.
Yeah. Wow. Tamiron? Pal?
What's the question?
What has society done?
Right or wrong?
I feel like I've talked a lot. Let me not talk again. You contribute.
Guy.
We've not contributed a lot.
Actually, I don't know why I'm speaking. I don't really have anything to say. I think we've talked about the bad, and honestly, I was going to dwell on the bad,
Yeah.
but it's been talked about already. So
I think as you mentioned something about while we're discussing, you mentioned the purity isn't bad, it's the championing,
The way people frame it.
yeah.
there's a way you put it, and it was so
yeah.
purity is not the problem. It's how it's been imposed on us. I don't know, something like that.
Oh my god.
There's something that Pal once mentioned, and she said that
In this podcast.
in this podcast,
Yeah.
you mentioned
Earlier
it in-
on.
Earlier on.
not in the discussion.
No.
Let's continue. Just say as
There's something. Okay.
Oh, you're
There's something that Pal mentioned in this podcast, and she said that it's not the problem isn't purity, it's how it has been imposed on us women and also to society. And I think if you want to be pure or you want to remain, I'm not saying that you're impure.
Yeah.
It sounds
bad.
no one is
If you want
impure.
to live your life the way you want to live.
You have to follow purity or not.
It's fine, and no one should judge you on the decisions you take. It's your choice, and that's one thing that the Bible or Christianity dwells on. Like, you choose.
Yeah.
You choose. We have the
Will.
yeah, we have the will to do not whatever we want to do, but you have the choice to make. You know,
In essence, whatever you want to do.
but like, yeah. Okay, but it really stuck with me because, to be honest, I feel like society has a lot. Okay, I feel like society has ruined a lot of good ideas or good guidelines.
Or something that was intended for good.
Yeah.
They've manipulated
Related
it
it.
to something completely different.
Exactly. And that's why we are seeing this whole issue on even a lot of women having that demonization of themselves, like, oh no, impure because I had sex, or even for people unfortunately who've been raped, they also have that demonization because society will look at them, oh, you're impure.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's
And it wasn't
It wasn't your fault. You
Exactly.
didn't make the decision.
Exactly.
You all should see my expressions. We should make this a video podcast soon.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that it's called purity in
Yeah.
itself says a lot about what the society thinks about those who are unable to follow it.
Exactly. So, as we wrap it up, I would like to say thank you for tuning into this podcast or to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to follow us on our socials, specifically Instagram
Leave your feedback.
at P3T Podcast. And also, if you have any feedback or want to hang out with us online or engage with us online, you can reach us on our email p3tpodcast@gmail.com.
Or our DMs.
Or our DMs also. on Instagram. Thank you very much. So much love from we, the P3T podcast, and bye.
Bye.